out of those people who are working, and we'll be seeing that in the income replacement ratio, we have about 80% of people who retire still go back to look for work for survival. Okay? It means you've reached retirement, you've left your employer, but then whatever you retire with is so little, you can't survive on it, so you have to look for other things to do, which is not bad, but if it is for survival, then it becomes a challenge. And thank you very much for this opportunity. As ICL Group, we really are excited to partner with Abojani. I know we've done a series of such previously. Online we've met, and today it's good to see and meet all of you, at least in person. I know there are people who are following us online. So it's a great opportunity, and as a group, I have a team. I know at some point they'll be introduced, and we are excited. So today, and thank you so much, Daktari. I was taking notes, and I'm really happy by IFC. I think that is what I will keep remembering. Yeah, IFC. I think that's what I'll keep remembering from the talk, and the fact that staying power, and that is what we want to continue with in terms of building resilience, especially as far as retirement is concerned. I think my work today is pretty easy because retirement is a topic that is very easy to address. Yeah, I always say whether you do something about it or you don't do something about it, by default, each day we are heading closer and closer to retirement. So the issue is, are you taking charge? So I will briefly introduce the organization I come from. ICL, I know Robert mentioned something about it. ICL Group, we are an integrated financial services solution provider in the country. And four things that stand out when you look at what we do. We do insurance, pensions, investments, and trusts. That is basically what we do. We have a mother company that owns us, that is First Charter Securities Group. And when we talk about legacy of trust, you will see from history, we always say, and I think you must have seen in the papers lately or this week, we are celebrating 60 years of existence. And our hashtag is a legacy of trust. All those years, we have thousands and thousands of clients within our book that have put trust in us throughout these years. And sometimes I tend to extend it because, you know, previously, before 2012, there was a company called Lion of Kenya. Lion of Kenya, before it merged with ICL Lion, it has a history of being in this country from 1895. So sometimes I say, we are not just 60 years old. If you picked the roots of Lion of Kenya, so we've been here from 1895. Yeah, and that's the staying power in business, the vision that we are talking about. Okay, so we are not just here for now. I expect in another 100 years, the group will be still there. And you can see now, as we go international, we say now we have one of the anchor shareholders, which is Prudential from UK, one of the largest insurance companies in US, not UK, sorry, Prudential US, one of the largest shareholders that are part of us. So just tells you that this group is still here, going places, even as we partner in all the solutions that we provide, we are going to be there with you. These are the main subsidiaries that we have that are relevant for this discussion. Of course, we have other sister companies that may not be for this discussion today, but we are structured into 4 main subsidiaries. Remember I talked about insurance, pensions, investments, and trusts. So we have the long-term business, which is the life company. that does life, business, and pensions. And then we have the general insurance for your short-term insurance, and we'll be talking about the tool sets or solutions that we can provide. You'll see how that lines. We have the asset management company, one of the largest. I think right now, the assets they manage in the country is in excess of 200 billion. And then we have the trust company. And the CEO of the trust company is here with me, Peter Washira. And I know he's a panelist. He will tell you more about what we do. So this is how we are split. So when we say we are a one-stop shop financial services provider, this is what we do. Okay? I always say this. We are the only AAA rated company for 3 years running. And I know even in 2025 going onwards, this is from Global Credit Rating Company, just speaking to the strength of the entity or the group that we are dealing with. Okay? So our mission is to protect and create wealth. Okay? We protect and create wealth. And our vision, of course, is to be the leading Pan-African country. So when you look at the mission itself, when you're talking about your wealth, how are we creating it for you through our investments? How are we protecting it for you through the solutions that we have? Okay? And we say our brand promise is in every life-changing moments, we are better together. So as we'll be speaking about the life stage investing, we'll be trying to see how are we better together in each and every stage that we are in. Because when I look at the room, we have fairly young faces here that are ready and eager to invest. This is our branch network, but remember, we have one of the largest, the best digital branch that we have is the digital tools that we have. So other than brick and mortar, which we have about 31 branches across the country, we also have digital solutions that you are able to interact with. Sorry. Okay, good. So that is the first part. Now let's talk about the best part that I like. And this is retirement. Remember I said every day, whether you do something about it, you can decide to drift into retirement, or you can decide to take action into retirement and take charge. So today I want us to make it personal. Let's not just listen, make it personal. Look at yourself. Where are you as far as this journey is concerned? And you can see we are deliberate. We are describing it in dollars. So we don't want to, we're looking at it from the dollar perspective, and the basket is overflowing. So what are these things that we are going to do now to take charge of our retirement? A bit of some statistics that we have here, just to set the stage. Currently, in the retirement benefits sector, we have close to 2 trillion Kenya shillings. Okay? And I was told in the room we have professionals and entrepreneurs. So out of these 2 trillion Kenya shillings, I don't know whether you are a member of any savings retirement benefit scheme, or whether you have a personal retirement scheme. If your 1 million is there, then you know you are part of the 2 trillion Kenya shillings. The growth has been fairly double digits lately. We are looking at about 12-13% over the years. And I think this is largely now because we have the government trying to come up with NSSF to make sure that people are saving, taking charge of their retirement. Okay? We have only about 3.5 million Kenyans saving for retirement. That is shocking. When we have about 17 million active people working. So these 3.5 million are largely those in the formal setup where there's an employer who has set up a scheme. But you can imagine we have another 10 million, 12 million people who are in entrepreneurs on their own, in businesses, but they don't have anything. Yeah? So we'll see what challenge that also brings. Our pension coverage is less than 30%. That should be very bad news, because it means the other 70+%, they're just there. They're waiting to retire. And then what? They have nothing. Yeah? So one of the other statistics, which is not here, which was done, and this is very sad, is that even out of those people who are working, and we'll be seeing that in the income replacement ratio, we have about 80% of people who retire still go back to look for work for survival. Okay? It means you've reached retirement, you've left your employer, but then whatever you retire with is so little, you can't survive on it, so you have to look for other things to do, which is not bad, but if it is for survival, then it becomes a challenge. So, remember I said we are making it personal. So have you envisioned your retirement? Where do you want to retire? How much do you want to retire with? Yeah? What plans do you have to utilize your time? I don't know whether Daktari is in retirement phase, because he's here and the hospital is running. So I believe there must be some people, who are really helping him with the retirement. But at least, let me tell you, one of the other challenges that people face, and you will see that, is how to utilize time. So what hobbies are you planning to have when that phase comes? And when we are talking about retirement, by the way, we are not looking at a cut-off age of 50, 60, or 70. You can take charge of your own retirement by deciding when you want to retire. Okay? And how do you want to retire? Do you want to retire at the coast? Do you want to retire in the city? Do you want to retire in the village? Okay? How much do you want to retire with? There's always the 1% rule of income. So if you want to retire with X amount of money, let's say you want to earn 100,000 per month in post-retirement, then you work backwards and say, for 100,000, based on the 1% rule, I will need how much? 10 million. Okay? Because that is per month to sustain you, roughly. So those are the things that you need to start thinking about. I just picked 4, but you can add. Sometimes men are crazy. They say, one of the things I want to do is to add a second wife as part of my retirement, which is not bad if you are able to sustain. The challenge is if you can't. But please envision what you want to have. Specifically, how you want to utilize your time, because for those of us who are in full-time employment, we have our time set. You wake up very early in the morning, you come back late in the evening, but when you retire now, you have the whole 24 hours with you. So what are you going to do with it? Okay? Level of income is important. What to do, where to retire, amongst others. So that should be part of your vision. Okay? Number 2 is, why is this topic really important? Why is it necessary? From statistics, a number of things have been shown to exist. Number 1, longevity risks. I think for those in the medical practice, you know that now people are living longer because healthcare benefits or systems are much better than they were. So sometimes I call it a risk, which is a good thing, but it's a risk if you are living longer, so you're not going soon, but you are desperate. Every month you are asking for money from your children. Currently, in terms of life expectancy at birth, on average, we are saying males at birth, we are talking about 67 years. For ladies, for some reasons, globally you outlive men, so you do 72 on average. But from our own experience as ICL, we have seen majority of people who have retired and are there on pension. We have seen them actually living post-retirement on average from 60 years. They do another 20, 30 years. Okay, because most of our pensioners, the ones we pay pension, are in the ages of between 80, 85. Okay, so just know that there's another phase post-retirement of another 20, 30 years that you will need to plan for. Lifestyle. I've talked about income replacement ratio. Ideally, you should be looking at replacing your income 100% plus. But do you know the current statistics from Retirement Benefits Authority? People are retiring and having a replacement ratio of less than about 26%. What that means is, if your last paycheck is 100,000 and you stepped out the following month, your money will drop from 100,000 to 26,000. So it means you have to adjust your lifestyle to fit the 26,000. That's why you find people struggle to relocate to the village when now people have to change houses or relocate to the village or suddenly drop your lifestyle. Okay? So we're just telling you this in advance so that you know that is something that is going to happen. Healthcare, and I've put that deliberately in red. As you will see, one of the lessons from retirees is healthcare is a major issue. And at that time, most insurance companies, and I've seen Old Mutual here, I know they provide medical. Most insurance companies, if you talk about premium, it becomes very expensive. Yeah? So healthcare is a cost. We need to plan for that now. So we'll see how those tools come in. Succession management. I was happy with the slides. I don't know whether you noticed something. There's a point Daktari talked about a grandson who is a director. Is it the director of? Yes. So it means as we even pass on the baton and things like that, you need to plan. If you are an entrepreneur, you are planning for succession so that you remain vibrant in retirement. And generally, freedom, peace of mind, you can do what you want, where you want. In retirement, the rule always is cash is king. You really need to be very, very liquid. Those are some of the reasons why you need it. Now, these are some of the lessons, and these ones have been picked from studies or feedback from retirees who've interacted with RBA and amongst others. And here are some of the things they keep talking about. Number one is lack of knowledge. Like I told you, most of us are just drifting, which is a very dangerous thing. People are not aware on tools that are available for planning for retirement. People are just waking up, payday treadmill. Every month you get your salary, and that's it. Lack of knowledge. And it's good, at least for the Abojani team, you cannot have any excuse. For the Abojani Masterclass students, you cannot have any excuse because knowledge you have. People talk about running out of cash. Yeah? I mean, especially for those of us who are in schemes where you are given your money in lump sum. That money runs out so fast. Yeah? You are given $1 million today or 2 million and you are told to plan with it. Within a short time, the money is not there. So what do? That's something that you need to do. Procrastination. I'm happy here we have a melee challenge. In other words, you are able to start early. Remember, time is a factor here. So the longer you wait, the more you will be required to put in terms of savings. Underestimating healthcare costs. Remember I mentioned that medical is becoming an issue. So you need to plan for that, and we have tools available that we will show you. And then, of course, we have the main one, which is always lack of diversification. You are relying only on one thing, which is probably your pension. And the worst one is relying on money from your children. In other words, you make them your retirement plan. So every month, you are calling, like now today is 24th. If I get a call from my mother, I can almost suspect, even if it is just a greeting, They know. Yeah? So, I don't want us to be like that. Remember, I said it is a personal. We are making it personal. Going forward, and with the children we are raising, that may not be a solution. So, these are some of the lessons from retirees. And this is now for you, it's like we are giving you a leakage. So this is what those guys have faced. They're telling us on the other side, if they knew, they would have planned better. So we have the opportunity to plan ourselves. And the end game, of course, is there. We need to have financial freedom, where passive income, and from the basket that you will see, passive income should basically meet or exceed your monthly expenses, and this is in cash. You will need to have taken care of your health, you have taken care of family, because in totality we are looking at psychological aspect about, we look at psychological aspect about retirement. You need to have people around you. You need to be active. You need to know what are you going to do when you wake up, yeah? And you need to have a roof over your head. And I'm happy Centum is here. They'll tell us how we can start planning early so that we are not the type of people who are paying rent in retirement. I had a very sad story, I think yesterday, of people, retirees, or people who are retirees, and their houses were demolished in Woodley. They have lived in these houses for 50 years plus. So they, by default, they assumed they are their houses, yet they are city council houses. And I think they are cheaper. So that has given a false sense that now this is my home. So now what do you do? Where do you start? Okay? So planning for a roof over your head is always very critical. So this is the life stage. And I know in the room we have people from a good number are here, young adults. We have those who are in the family development. Then we have a few maybe on the retirement phase. Yeah? We have a few there. So in each of these phases, we have the stages. One is to build wealth, where I think we are actively advocating for. Then there's the other stage where you are preserving. So when you're building wealth, you know you need to have different strategy from when you are preserving and when you are living on your wealth. Largely those three stages. So when you're building wealth, very active young ones, I always say at this stage, the first stage when you are very young, active in business, probably that's the point you need to save the most. But our young people, when you tell them this is the time you need to save the most, they do the opposite. Yeah? We always say at this stage, if you're working, you're probably still living in your parents' house or something like that, you've just started life, you need to save probably 20% plus of your income. But that is the time we do the opposite. There's a lot of sherehe going on, people are celebrating, and then you miss out on the opportunity. Okay? So that's the first stage. So you need good debts in that case, so you need to take loans to advance yourself. If it is business, you can start. A bit of consumption, insurance planning is very key, and investing is also highly recommended at that stage. But then we'll reach the stage where now you start talking about estate planning for tax purposes, succession planning like we've talked, and then we have that stage for retirement. And remember, that stage for retirement is coming. Yeah? Whether we like it or not. So all we need to do is to make sure that we have planned accurately. So how do we plug into this as ICL or as you may want? Because this is a journey. What are some of the tool sets that you may need at one of these stages? Number one, from the start, like I mentioned, the young adults, those people who have just started working, a number of things you may need. You may need to save, and right now, the easiest way to save, and I believe everybody in the room has, is saving through what we call collective investment vehicles like unit trusts or money market funds or bond funds and things like that. That is a given. Everybody should have at least that. You need to have a personal accident just in case things happen. Medical is important. Pension, this is the time to start saving. Incidentally, when you talk to the young people at this stage, that is a time they say, you can't believe, they can't believe that you're telling them about retirement when they are 25 years. They will say they have a lot of time. But incidentally, this is the best time to start thinking about that. And then, of course, for your assets, you need to cover them. If you are having a vehicle or something like that, you need to have property insurance. Then you come to the other stage where now you start having a family, and then we talk about insurance policies come into place. You still need to have those collective investment vehicles like unit trust, but then of course you need to start thinking about education. Education is suddenly becoming very expensive in this country. And I don't want to believe that the people in this room are largely relying on the government systems. Because first of all, even the formula itself is very difficult to understand. Yeah? So you need to plan for yourself, plan for your children's education, and this is the easiest because you know a child is born, by a certain age, they will be going to university or this school, so you need to plan. How do you plan that? We have life policies that can take care of you. Savings is still important. You can save through life policies. The way life policies work is they offer you protection and maturity or investments. So we combine the two. So if you take an endowment policy with a sum assured of, let's say, $1 million, you are going to be, for a term of 10 years, what we are telling you is that for a premium of, let's say, 10,000, you are covered for $1 million, but at the end of the 10 years, the policy will have matured to 2 or 3 million. So you can plan what you are going to do with that, okay? So those are some of the things that you need to look at. Remember, consistently, we are advocating for you to have a savings culture in one of these. Short-term investments, pension, you see they are running across, and to the last point, I think that is where now you'll see, now you start, it may not be necessary to have education policy from age 60, yeah? So you now say you want to live on your wealth, then we talk about annuities. We talk about income drawdown. And I think in the last class, we really gave examples of how these work. But essentially, we are saying, if you are buying an annuity, you are transferring your risk, longevity risk, to an insurance company and giving them your lump sum in exchange for a monthly income for as long as you live. So you don't worry about living. So you give me 10 million. I say I'll pay you 100,000 for the rest of your life. Whether your life is 20 years, 30 years from now, that is not your. And that is one of the ways, best ways of maintaining liquidity in retirement. So those are some of the solutions that we have that you can plug in. So at this stage, please just look at where you are in your stage. You could be the young adults, you could be in the middle family formation. What are your needs? And how can we help you meet those needs? Okay? We are aware that as you build this portfolio, you need to have a number of things here. For resilience, one, you need to be aware of risk cognizance. As you invest, remember at early stages, if you are very young, you can tolerate a lot of risks. So you can take a bit of risky assets. As you mature and you go into a retirement phase, then you need to make sure that your assets are more risk tolerant. So you may want to look at those assets that are not volatile. For example, government bonds and things like that. Yeah? Then you know, we've talked about diversification. Even within the same, even if you are having a money market fund account, you can choose to have them from different providers. You can actually have a split just to diversify, and have a feel, okay? But please make sure you diversify your sources of income, okay? Consistency, I think the good doctor really talked about this. So you really must be consistent. People open money market funds account with as little as 500 bob, and you can do daily top-ups, 100 bob, 200 bob, and these days it's digital. So it's so easy. So consistency is something that really helps. Don't be the type of people who start saving, you open an account, and then that's it. Okay? So these are some of the things that you need to look at in terms of diversified investment portfolio, and this now gives us that basket we are talking about. In retirement, let's not have one source of income. We are looking at cash flows from diversified pools or streams. So we'll be looking at your coupons from bonds. You'll be looking at real estates, which you will have already. Don't be the type of people who start constructing houses in retirement and run out of cash. Okay? So you will probably have 1 or 2 units somewhere. Pension, this is very important. This should be the basic or income drawdown for that matter. Collective investment vehicles should still be giving you your cash. And then, of course, investments, if you are shareholder in some of these companies, you bought, let's say, Safaricom shares, you never sold them, so you'll be relying on dividends throughout in your retirement, which is a good thing, okay? You can go into others, business. I know we have a lot of entrepreneurs in the room. This is probably the time some of your policies will be maturing, so you'll have that. You can do farming, which can also be part of your activity, because you don't want just to sit there. Farming, which is commercial in nature. I'm told nowadays people are really taking directorship as an occupation in retirement. Yeah. You will not have the challenge we have been talking about of having a replacement ratio of 30%, because you are able to rely on so many sources of income. And the unique thing here, you can see here, I've not mentioned anywhere money from your spouse or money from your children. If they bring it, well and good. They don't have to. Okay? So, when you're talking about retirement wealth basket, I think these are some of the things that we need to look at. I don't know whether you are able to see these examples, but I just wanted to illustrate the power of compounding as I wind up. Let's say you are saving 10,000 shillings per month in an instrument estimating with an average return of 10% and escalating it at 5%. So within 5 years, that 10,000 will give you something like 882,000. 10 years, you can see, in as much as the period is double, but the amount is now 2.5 million. 15 years, the amount is now 5.5. So it speaks to the power of compounding and the consistency that we're talking about. So assuming this was somebody who is 20 years, and they're just doing 10,000 shillings. In 60 years, we'll be talking about 34 million. If you go by our rule of 1%, this person will be having about a monthly income of 350,000 per month, liquid cash from an annuity fund, guaranteed throughout. Same thing, if you have, you're putting money in a money market fund, you're depositing, you have a 5 million lump sum, you are able to draw around 50,000 per month, and the current rates, I think money market funds are doing pretty well. You are able to draw about 50,000 per month from the interest only. Yeah? So once you have these sources, then you will be well equipped in terms of your retirement. Finally, this is our flagship product for starting to save, personal retirement scheme, end-to-end. Visit pensions.iclion.co.ke. It takes 5 minutes. You can even open an account while you are here, digital, and you are able to start enjoying the power of saving.